Good evening. A mother of 4 has today been convicted of helping to plot an arson attack in Oxford, which led to the deaths of 2 young children. Fiaz Munshi was found not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. In a moment, we'll hear from the victim's family. But first, Peter Cook is at Oxford Crown Court. Peter, this case goes back several years.
Victoria, what was the reaction to the verdict?
Well, there's been emotional scenes here at court in the last few hours. As the verdict was read out, members of Jaden Parkinson's family left in floods of tears. Ben Blakely didn't seem to show that much emotion actually, but when he found out that he'd been found guilty of murder, he left the dock pretty quickly. Well, the jury took around 20 hours to reach their decision, and it wasn't unanimous, it was 11-1 in the end. Well, police have said here today this is one of the most unique cases they've ever worked on, and indeed the whole idea of a murderer burying and hiding a body in an existing grave, they think may be the first of its kind. But outside court here today, they said they were pleased with the decision. Kenneth Simmons walked out of this prison just over 48 hours ago, and as yet police have not tracked him down. Well, of course, this is an open prison, and the idea is that prisoners are brought here towards the end of their sentences so they can be slowly reintegrated into society. But of course, the idea is that they return here. Well, Kenneth Simmons missed his curfew and now he's a wanted man. Police say he was involved with violent crimes such as stabbings and that he shouldn't be approached. The care worker on call that night and into the morning said he checked on Nico regularly. He described him as being okay, but when he came back to check on him just after 6 o'clock in the morning, he'd stopped breathing and he was bleeding from his mouth. They say if it is built, the local shopkeepers will close their businesses down, and they say that the roads around here are just simply too dangerous for pedestrians to walk to a local supermarket. Well, Emrys Burrell is one of the campaigners from the group. Emrys, this has already got planning permission from the council as a supermarket, so what are you hoping to achieve today? Oxford City Council says it simply cannot afford the rents here in the city centre. So now it's moving families like the Murads to places much further away. When we asked the City Council about the family's medical needs and their support network here, it responded by saying the family can access these same things in other places just like Birmingham. 15 million tonnes of food is wasted in the UK every year. By saving the food from the bin in Oxfordshire, the food bank's achieving more than just helping those in need. It's helping the environment too. Well, every year, the work of the food bank represents a saving of around 250 tonnes of CO2 emissions. Well, that's the same weight as 25 double-decker buses. It also means 72,000 cubic metres of water saved, and that's equivalent to 28 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Well, this is the first time that passengers have been allowed to travel along this route. It's usually only freight that goes along here. Well, today the journey's taking us around 20 minutes, but if this goes ahead, the whole journey will only take around 5. Most of the animals here are pretty used to the annual count, but no more than George here. Although we're struggling to keep him on camera, he's around 75 years old, and this will be nearly his 40th count. If all the post in the country was put in a giant post bag, 3% of it would come through here in Swindon. And to give you an idea of the scale of this, it's 3.5 million letters and 350,000 parcels processed every day.
That's going straight in the bin when we leave, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's going to LA.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm going to put it above the cooker, like you said.
Oh, brilliant.
I got magnets above the cooker, so I can stick it right on there.
Oh, Tom, thank you so much for
That's all right. My pleasure. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
all the best.
Great, thank you.
I don't know how impressed he was with that. Well, it's been another lovely day. Here's Alexis with the weather for the next few days. Around 200 people have made the journey here and have filled the church for the funeral. During the service, her mother and her sister will pay tribute to her. And once it's finished, Jaden will be laid to rest here in the church graveyard alongside her great-grandmother. The next day, Beata was found here in Woburn Green in Buckinghamshire. This is some 43 miles from where she was last seen. She'd been hit repeatedly around the head with a heavy object. She'd been covered in a cloth and then set alight. It was 25 years ago today that 5 kite chicks were brought to special aviaries near here at Watlington Hill. Then over the next 5 years, 88 more were brought to join them. Now it's thought there's more than 1,000 breeding pairs here.